What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Investing Bros live show. It is Tuesday afternoon, September 24th, and we've got a great show lined up for you. Yes, the price action of cryptocurrency and the markets continue kind of to drag somewhat sideways. A lot of altcoins still looking at some good highs at the moment, but we've got some fantastic news coming in two different places. First of all, we have a major statement that wealth and the elite finance of the world is coming to crypto. It's just a matter of time. Also, China deciding to add some liquidity to the space. We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. Do not go anywhere. Make sure you smash the like button and hit subscribe if you enjoy the content. But first, we got to roll the intro.
Yeah.
How you doing today, my friend?
Oh, Tim, I've got to be honest with you. I am better than I deserve by far.
Good.
By far. Today's been a good day. Very good day. Had a great conversation with my landlord. So he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Okay.
How are you doing today, Tim?
I'm doing good. Yesterday I was not able to go to the gym because I had to get a haircut. And the only time to fit into my schedule was right there during gym time. So I was back in the gym today. I'm not feeling great on the chest. So I started to notice a pain in my left pec last week with heavy benching. And when I went to bench today, it still was there and it's nagging. So the good news is I haven't popped anything. I technically can do it. But with that little bit of pain, it means I'm going to probably take the next couple of weeks off of benching, let that heal up. So that's my favorite lift, right? So that's always disappointing when you have to take a break from your favorite workout. But got a good shoulder and tricep workout in, and that's what makes me know it's completely in the pec because it's not like the other pushing motions hurt whatsoever. Joe Bro says ice it. Funny enough, Joe Bro, actually, that's not the answer. If there's an injury, you want inflation. Yeah, well, I mean, you want the body inflation to get in there because it's blood and cells rushing to the injury, right? Ice actually, this is a fun fact for everybody. You guys came in for crypto, you're going to learn some things. The guy that came up with the system rest, ice, compression, elevate. He has admitted, and this has been out for years, he's admitted he made a mistake, and that actually slows down your true recovery. Inflammation. Okay, there we go. That's the right word. I'm in crypto mode. Inflation. Inflammation is blood and cells rushing to the injury to heal it. It's your body saying heal it. So when you ice it and you lower that inflammation, you're actually slowing down the healing process. But if you let it stay inflamed, yes, it's stiff. Yes, it might be painful. But technically speaking, you're actually flooding the area with the healing property. So icing is actually a mistake.
That's right.
Fun fact right there.
True.
Is that going to be the factoid of the day? Did I just ruin the factoid of the day about was rice actually a genuinely real thing?
No, you did not, which is great. But I did get a picture. I don't know if you know this, but they've been leaking photos of you from your gym. This is the latest one that I got, actually. So this one's a little crazy. But we love to have fun. Tim, why don't we go ahead and jump right on into the charts and see the bubbles, see what's going on with this crazy market.
Well, we're going to talk about inflammation of the charts. We still have a sea of a lot of green with some big red ones as well. Hex had been on a streak. Hex had been one of the biggest green bubbles on the daily chart for a while. It's down 11% today. Chiel. I've actually never even heard of Chiel. Maybe Crux has heard of Chiel. It's also down 10%. Again, I don't think I've ever talked about it on the channel whatsoever, but you still have some big movers in the top 100. CFX is up 12%. SUI is up 8.8%. WIF, some people's favorite meme coin. Again, I don't know meme coins, but some people love it. WIF is up 14%. Check it out. Cardano over here hiding behind me, up 6%. It's been a minute since we've seen Cardano as be one of the bigger bubbles. Gala 7.1. A lot of big ones. ICP. People are talking about ICP. Is it dead? Is it not dead? 6.6. 7.1 for TIA. So overwhelmingly, with the exception of a couple red dots in here, it's more green today continually for the altcoins than it is red. Shifting over and taking a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is rallying back up. We talked about it this morning in our trading setup. I'm not actually going to talk about any details of our trade. I'm going to save that because we have a lot of trading members that they are a part of that group. They get that information. But we did have a successful short this morning on both Bitcoin and stacks, but we're looking at another one. If you want to find out more of that information, you have got to be in our trading group. We are crushing it right now. I think we are actively in one trade at the moment. There's one that is open. I'll go in and talk with the members Q&A about that afterwards. Let's take a look here at longer time frames, though. There's not a lot I want to do here with Bitcoin. It's exactly where we've been leaving it every single day. Look at this sideways action. You had a little bit of firecrackers over the weekend. Nice 3, 4-hour bullish candles in a row. Got all the way up to 64,700. But the level that we're looking for to come back and say, all right, the bulls are back in charge, that's sitting at 65,000, this purple line right there. So we're still sitting in a very sideways kind of mundane movement. We're picking up steam here on lower time frames, though. If you go down to the 1-hour chart, there's this box down here. Let me see if I can zoom in for you really quickly. This is another cool feature of Lux Algo. This box tells us, why is that all that in the way? I hate this. I hate this with a passion. All right, well, you can still see it here. See that squeeze right there? It says 100%. This is something that I think is very, very useful. Oh, come on now. I just need to get out and zoom back out. There we go. It's something that tells us that a big volatile move is coming at some point in this timeline. It's another way of kind of using Bollinger Bands. You guys know T. Shroom and I both love Bollinger Bands, but Bollinger Bands are they're a movement that tells us that we're either constricted or extremely volatile, and when they get restricted, they then start to prepare for a big move either direction. Well, we're seeing this on the 1-hour chart. We're seeing it on lower time frames. Well, it was on the 30-minute earlier, but it's expanded here a little bit. I think we had it on the 15-minute as well. Again, 15 minutes expanded. So the most one we're still looking at right now, 1-hour chart, is showing us, though, a big move should be coming. But guess where else we're seeing it? We're seeing it over here on the weekly chart as well. 100% squeeze, meaning we are healthily restricted. A bigger move is coming in the next couple of candles. For the 1-hour chart, that would mean, hey, guys, we got a couple of hours more than likely before some sort of a big move happens. I'm in the camp right now of leaning towards the downside, but it could be up. On the weekly chart, of course, because weekly candles represent 7 whole days, this still means a massive move could be a couple of weeks away, but it is a sign that we should be seeing a big, big, big move. And I'll tell you right now, while that hourly chart, I'm leaning more bearish on this weekly chart, I think there's a lot of reasons to think this big move could be to the upside. Just so you know, though, we would stay squeezed even if we fell all the way down here towards $53,000. It would still be in a squeeze scenario. That means something big is coming later on. So I want to make sure you guys understand with that new cool indicator we have discovered here with the bros over on Discord, it is saying weekly chart looking ready to pop in a major, major way. 1-hour chart looking to pop. Not so major, but something that should break us out of this sideways mundane movement. It's something that probably would take us to the bullish side, up above 65, to the bearish side, probably at least down towards 61, 62,000, if not lower. But T-Shroom, what do you got for a question?
You're showing everybody, you're being a bit of a tease here, Tim, because you're showing everybody the cool aspects, the useful high utility aspects of Lux Algo, and yet you're not telling them how they can get hooked up with the world's greatest trading indicator. Tim, I will do it because you refuse to do it. I will let the bros in on the Giga Alpha here. 20% off right now, Lux Algo. You can get it by going down in the description of the video. Look at that beautiful bearded man right there. Just scroll on down. Look, I had that video liked. Don't be getting crazy. And just check out the link right there. Tim, back to your charts.
Let's do it. Well, I feel like we've covered Bitcoin in depth. Let's check in on some coins that we haven't given as much love to recently. Let's go over and take a look at what Solana is doing. Now, Solana's in its own little sideways movement here. That's the 1-hour chart. Let's go out to the daily here for a little bit. The daily chart has been trading in a range that we have been tracking for a while. We've had these two, you see these like rectangles, these red and gray rectangles. We've had these on this chart now for a while. Major levels of support and resistance. You can see even especially since back here early August, these levels have been very, very important. We are seeing a little bit, if I were to come down to a lower time frame like an 8 hour, we're seeing a little bit of potentially a little bull flag, kind of a bull pennant, I guess I'm going to say here, potentially forming here. Got a little bit of a rising level of support, falling level of resistance, if I can grab that correctly. There we go. And this, of course, is attached to a couple of days of bullish price action on Solana. This could send Solana's price action, if the bulls start to go to the upside, we could go back up above this resistance and start to make a move towards 170 once again. But let's check in. Let's see what the Lux Algo indicators are saying. But keep an eye on this level, 150, 160. Major level of resistance that'll be amazing to break on through. On the daily chart, you're going to see, take a look here. Again, before I even pulled up Lux Algo, and it's been a minute since I did Lux Algo daily chart technical analysis, right in this same range, you have the smart trail that is telling us between 157 and 166, but we're also under a buy signal from Lux Algo that tells us a take profit conservatively should be here at 163, aggressively up here at 184, right? That 173 target falls right there, dab smack in the middle. So can the bulls sustain this move? Check out where the squeeze is here on the daily chart. It's not quite to 100, but it's at 99.56. I know unless you guys have the eyesight of an eagle, there's no way you guys are seeing this. But if you have Lux Algo, you can double check me. Squeeze on the daily chart for Solana coming in right now at 99%. What about the 4-hour chart? Let's take a look over here. 100% on the 4-hour chart. As we said, we're kind of trading right now in this little symmetrical triangle, deciding do we want to make a move to the upside or the downside. I gave you that bullish scenario, right? Guess what? If that ends up flipping and going to the downside, it could get worse than this, but we have a target to the downside. I like this more aggressive take profit level back down to 125, 126 area. Of course, if I turn off all the Lux Algo details, that's just, didn't mean to pull up that one. That's just back in here into that major support rectangle that I told you about. If for this to happen, Bitcoin probably needs to retrace back down at least to 60K. That would bring Solana probably back down into these levels. I think there's a chance that Solana really doesn't drop below this. Clearly, if you look at Solana price action since back here in April, this has been the defining level right here. Yes, we had one wick drop all the way to 110, but these wicks, look at how many wicks have bounced in this area around $120. That is a super, super strong level of support. It's a level that every time we go down, whales are buying in bulk. It's the floor for Solana, so I don't anticipate a move lower than that. But keep your eyes on what's happening with Solana. If we get a move to the upside, again, we could see not new highs for this bull market, but new highs we haven't seen in a couple of months, not since back here in July of 2024. Let's check in on another one that we haven't checked in on recently, Caspa. Caspa making a move back down. Now, I haven't done TA on Caspa in this macro in a while. Let's do some drawing here, T-shirt.
Hold on, Tim.
Yeah. Okay, so you're muted.
I muted myself. Many would view Caspa TA as the good stuff. I was unmuted and then I muted myself. We got to get our likes up. We got to set our like goal before we get to this Caspa TA. What are we doing here, Tim?
I mean, so the offer is always on the table that if we ever get 600 likes, we will give away $50 at the end of the episode, right? And we're still piling here. It's only 13 minutes into the show. Viewership is not necessarily where it always is, but I know it's going to keep trickling in more and more as the show goes on. I still am going to put it 600 for $50.
600.
$650. I'll tell you this though. I'll do a $10 giveaway. We'll do $10 if we make it to 400. All right. So it's not as much as 50, obviously, but we'll give one of you $10 if we get to 400 likes. Get the likes up. We'll give some money away. I'll do both of them. We'll do a total of $60 today. 400 gets you 10. 600 gets you another 50 on top of that 10. You want to win some money? Smash the like. Tell your friends. Smash the like.
Tim, you're going on and on about these likes. Let's get back to the charts.
Oh, t-shirt. All right, we're looking here at Caspa, a long-term support trend line. Yeah, we have a little bit of movement below this, but you can see with the confluence of other touches in this region, I like where I have this rising level of support at the moment, which means the floor for Caspa at the moment could drop us all the way back down here to 14.3 cents. Am I guaranteeing that's what's going to happen? No. But I want people to understand there's going to be support in this range. Check it out. That's just where we were back here on September 6th. So that kind of adds a lot more pressure here to saying the floor for Caspa right now, 14 cents, looks very, very interesting. What is Luxalgo saying at the moment? Here on the 4-hour chart, we were under a sell signal that played out, at least at the moment, beautifully to the conservative level of our take profit. Something we've not done a lot of here on the show so far is pulling up my favorite indicator. I love using this when I'm looking at trades, and that is the Lux Algo oscillator, but also the RSI starting to show us a level of being oversold. The MACD, don't count on that one. That one looks like it's still going to be bearish. When it comes to the Lux Algo oscillator, there's a couple things that I like, but it does show that I think the Caspa is going to drop just a little bit further to the downside. I like how low this oscillator is. I like that we're down here at 10. We don't have a bullish momentum dot like we had here just a couple of days ago, but we are sitting and getting a lot of green reversals. We're very low on the oscillator. The money flow is negative, but has already shown that it's starting to regain some power here. Don't operate on this just yet, but my guess is we're about to see a buy signal flashing on the 4-hour chart for Caspa within the next couple of days. Let's go further. Let's look at the 1-hour chart, see what it is saying. Yeah, it's not giving me a buy signal either, which confirms to me, I think we have a little bit further to go to the downside, maybe even back down here towards 15.5, give or take. Yeah, it's going to be right there, smack dab in the middle of the 4-hour take profit, right there at the bottom of the 1-hour take profit. Right now, not seeing Caspa signs showing me a reason to move to the upside. Let's see here if there's any order blocks. Would you look at this? Without me even pulling up our order blocks on the 4-hour chart, the best order block of them all, a bullish breaker block. If you want to learn more about bullish breaker blocks, that's one of the things we teach our trading group. This is in play right here. Guess where? 15.45, 15.5 area. So that to me kind of screams my target to watch on Caspa is a pullback to 15.5. Then we got to decide, hey, was that enough? Do we get the buy signals coming in on our oscillators, or does the price need to go down even further? But right now, Caspa looks like a move to the downside. One of the coins we mentioned, up 6% on the day, Cardano, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Cardano here recently making a big move to the upside out of a falling wedge pattern. These are traditionally bullish, where you have a lower high and lower low, meaning a lower level of resistance, lower level of support, but they're constricting as they move. Well, guess what? We broke to the upside, and traditionally when these things break, the macro movement wants to make this move all the way, in this case, back up towards 53 cents. We're at 38 cents right now, the highest we've been all week, the highest as we've been back here in late August. That's going to be very important. The first level, let's make it back up here above 40 cents. Let's set a higher high for the first time in Cardano's chart since back here in early March. Some of you might be saying, Tim, what are those fancy arrows? This is something we talked about here a couple of weeks ago, but one of the reasons why I thought that this bottom position on Cardano was so important is if you look during this bearish trend, I have these arrows pointing every single major bottom position. If you watch the volume, there's a large spike in volume at that bottom move. What that means is every time we've made these massive sales, a lot of bulls have come in to buy up the pressure. A lot of bears take their profits, but it's ultimately high volume. If you believe in Wyckoff theory, which I do, the theory of the composite man manipulating data, one of the things he teaches is when you're in a strong bear trend, you want to look for a low volume spring is what he calls it. Ultimately, it's the level that tells you, yes, we're low in price, but no money is moving. Why is no money moving? Because there wasn't a lot of pressure pushing it down and nobody's willing to sell anymore. You've pretty much hit your floor. High volume would imply to the composite man, we could probably go back down to this level or even lower. But if you look at the most recent dip here on September 6th, you can see I have a green arrow because the volume is non-existent, meaning a lot of pressure, a lot of buying and selling happening here in April, a lot of buying and selling happening here in July, a lot of buying and selling happening in August, Not a lot at this bottom. This is the composite man sign. It's a low volume bottom. It's time to make things move to the upside. We're breaking through levels of resistance. Watch for a move up towards 53 cents. And eventually we'll get back up someday, back above $1 and new highs, in my personal opinion. But we're a far way away from there. I'm not going to use this whole show to tell you why I think Cardano is still a good investment. If you don't like it, that's completely fine. That is of your opinion, and you can trade that responsibly. Now, I see a lot of people asking for some other coins. I see Ondo. We did some Ondo yesterday, but we can do that later on in the show. Jay Diaz is saying, can we look at Sheeb? So these are good suggestions. I'm going to write them down. And if we have a good amount of time for Q&A at the end of the show, we can start with some Ondo and Sheeb TA. Stick around, though. Make sure you're here for it, because we're going to get into the news now. Done a lot of charts. T-Shroom, we have some bullish headlines that people need to be aware of. Not necessarily saying they have to send price to the upside right this very second, but a lot of information that should make you feel extremely confident about the bull market still being around. Why don't you take us into those headlines?
Absolutely, Tim. Let's get into the bullish headlines first. I've got some headlines as well because Gary Gensler took stage in...
Hey, quick T-shirt. I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
We don't miss super chats, right? We've done it in the past. It's the biggest mistake of our channel. We had a super chat from Crypto Crank, and I apologize for taking this long to field it. He said, what are your thoughts on Phil? And he's talking about filecoin. Holding bottom support. Crypto Crank. We're going to save that one till a little later, but thank you. That's going to get the top priority when we do it.
Filecoin. Strap in.
But I have seen your super chat. Thank you for that money, and we'll get to your question here at the end of the news section.
Nothing gets my heart rate pumping like some Filecoin TA. Smash the like, bros. 4.5 billion. Bitwise CIO says the most powerful people in finance are allocating, and they're allocating to Bitcoin and crypto. Can you believe it? Are you paying attention? This is pretty big. This is pretty bullish. This is getting a lot of folks talking because Wall Street is not just buying Bitcoin and crypto. They're gobbling it up like mad. Tim, I've got to bring you in here. How much weight do you put on the Bitwise CEO's words? By the way, his name is Matt Hogan over there at Bitwise. This is what he looks like. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
Tim, how bullish is this? Is this something that you're excited about?
Well, let you say how much weight I'm going to put in it. I'll start by saying I'm not going to put like as much weight as a whole head of hair can hold, as we found out yesterday. 2 whole elephants, it sounds like. If you guys watched the show yesterday, the Factoid of the Day, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I'll say this. I've not known Bitwise team to be one of the teams that lie about information, right? So I'm not going to put him in the same boat as Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan. I'm not going to put him in the same boat as, what's his name from CNBC? I always blank on his name.
Jim Cramer.
Jim Cramer, right? The people that seem to always give you the exact opposite answer of what's happening.
Right.
Bitwise is a crypto company, right? So it does him a lot of, it's good for him to make people really excited about the crypto markets. That's what you do need to take into account with what he's saying. He is potentially a little biased to want the crypto markets to improve, to go higher, because it's good for his business. But I don't know him to be a liar. I have no reason to suspect that what he's saying is false. And if he is correct, which I believe there's so much evidence to support that he would be, big money is coming to crypto. They are waiting on the right opportunities. They're waiting for things to shake out, but they're understanding the future of finance, the future of how people will build wealth is going to exist in crypto. Why? Well, Bitcoin is the new digital gold, right? So it's just in its own category of its own. Ethereum at the moment is kind of being treated like digital oil. Of course, people make a lot of money on gold and oil, but then you have the rest of the crypto space. And I'm not going to call out any one altcoin in general, but it's like the second wave of the internet. There are so many people. I know people talk about the dot-com bubble and all this other stuff, but if you go back to actually what the internet is, there was a lot of people who missed the boat on the internet. And by the time it was proven that the internet was legit, you missed out on your opportunity to make life-changing wealth with it. Well, a lot of these wealthy individuals, they're not going to miss the boat twice. They missed that one. They're not going to miss it again. They view cryptocurrency as the second coming of the internet. That's why we call it Web 3. It is the upgrade from Web 2 into the Web 3 world. I think that he's 100% right, and I agree with him. We will be seeing a lot of big money from TradFi flowing into crypto, not just Bitcoin, Ethereum, not just Solana, not just some of these other favorable coins, but crypto in general, and that will flood with confidence for the retail investors as well. But at the same time, again, before I make you feel like, I say this expression all the time, I don't want you to go sell your home or mortgage your home and put it all in on crypto, because this man does have a personal reason to want us to be bullish, but I don't think necessarily he's using that in this case to lie to us. I think he's telling the truth, and it coincidentally is also very good for his business, Bitwise.
His business. I like it.
His business. His business.
I think in this case, I think it's bullish, right? Obviously, he has a bias. He wants Bitcoin to do well. Who doesn't, right? But he also is becoming more and more of a Wall Street insider, right? And so I take him at his word. I have no reason to believe that the top, Wall Street movers and shakers aren't trying to get exposure to Bitcoin and crypto. A lot of those folks kind of see Bitcoin as a hedge against what could happen if the U.S. bond market could start to face some instability. Well, we've got some more bullish news here. Then we've got a little bearish news, and then we're going to dive on into what the heck happened with Gary Gensler in Washington today. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. But let's get into some bullish news. We'll get a little bit of bearish news as well, because we got to have our salad with our steak. China announcing multiple rate cuts just after the Fed cut rates. We know what happens next, and according to Bitcoin Magazine, what comes next is a rocket ship emoji. So you can interpret that how you would, but this does have 8.8 thousand likes. So I think folks are getting bullish, seeing that it's not just the United States, it's also China that is going ahead and cutting rates. Now, Tim, we have run with this thumbnail with the leader of China, Xi Jinping, going ahead and influencing the decision to make rates cut. Over there in China, this is a big deal, right? Because they've had a lot of trouble with their real estate market in 2023 and early 2024. And in addition, they also been suffering a little bit of craziness with their currency as well, too, along with pretty much every other fiat as they continue to dissolve back to fiat hell where they came from. But Tim, how bullish is this? We're getting both the United States Federal Reserve and now the Chinese central banks cutting rates. Yeah. I mean, does it get any better than this?
Well, the simple answer is it's very bullish, because this is just adding more liquidity to the space. It makes it easier to borrow money, makes it easier to go buy something with that money. Effectively, let's make sure we understand, in the same boat of what the United States is doing in several other countries where their money is still being heavily inflated. And they're cutting rates, which will add liquidity, but we're kicking the can down the road. We're going to have whenever we do have some form of a recession, it's not going to be localized to just the United States. It's not going to be localized to just the West. When there ends up becoming a recession, it's going to be worldwide. Asia, Africa, Australia, Europe, South America, we're all going to go down for at least a couple of months, if not maybe a couple of years. But the more and more these countries keep doing this, you can call it dumb. You can try to become like a doomsday prepper and prepare yourself for a really rough economy, but they're kicking that can down the road. That day is not today. I still wonder, I think we're going to talk about this here in a little bit. The bearish news is going to talk about people's sentiment in the space, but right. Everything I'm seeing logically is saying, hey, if you think a recession is coming, a severe recession is coming, because some people believe we already are in one or we had one, yada, yada. I'm talking about if you think a 08, 09 level of recession is coming, based on what we see the governing entities in this world doing, that day is not today. It's not 2024. It probably won't be 2025. Again, I have a scenario and a theory that it really won't happen until 2027. Now, it could get really ugly then, but this added liquidity for the short term is going to be extremely good for crypto. And I'll tell you this, T-Shroom, with America now going maybe this is part of it. Maybe the Fed knew that China was about to cut their rates as well. And do we potentially see an arms race to adding Bitcoin to the portfolio? Because they both understand that their currencies are screwed, right? Their currencies are going to get inflated into oblivion. The smartest thing to do would be to inflate your dollar, to allow it to get cheaper to borrow, but you as a government use all of this flooding of cash. You're printing this fake money. Go exchange it for something worthwhile like Bitcoin. go buy the Bitcoin dip, send Bitcoin to the moon. And then, we heard that video of Donald Trump kind of saying that he said the other day, maybe he would use cryptocurrency to pay off our $35 trillion of debt. It's a risky move. I'm a Bitcoin fan, but it's a risky move. But that's the scenario that I would say would make the most sense for large countries to do. If you're going to inflate your dollar, if you're going to print into oblivion and devalue it like you're doing, America, China, Europe, I know that Europe's not a country, but the euro, at least buy something that's worth something with all this inflated money so that you have a chance to economically fix yourself the way El Salvador has done over the last couple of years. That is a beautiful success story of what Bitcoin can do for your country. What Argentina is beginning to do with their new leader. There are going to be so many success stories of how countries completely change their economy for the long term by going all in on Bitcoin. T-Shroom, I don't know if this is factual, but maybe is that what China's doing? And do we potentially see an arms race where America says we can't let them win this? All of us Bitcoin holders, we can just sit back, ream in the profits, because that would be fantastic news for our bags. What do you think, T-Shroom?
Yeah, just to kind of round it off here, Tim was referencing El Salvador. This is the headline, came in last week. Bukele states El Salvador will self-finance 2025 budget, won't issue even a cent of debt. That's from the Bitcoin.com. So very big deal there. They're able to completely balance their budget. I think that's incredible. It's a small country. If Argentina can pull it off too, that would be incredible. But Javier Milei has not taken the same strategy of making Bitcoin legal tender in the same more extreme move that Nayib Bukele made there in El Salvador. Overall, Tim, the cut is bullish. Rate cuts are bullish every day of the week. They're bad. They're terrible. They're a sugar high, right? But the grand scheme of central bank policy, to their advantage, takes place over a long period of time, right? Not quite as long a period of time as the history of the universe, or folks who are dealing with fields like archaeology, right? But macroeconomics does take place very slowly over time until suddenly things break. Right. We got close with the yen carry trade. We were actually talking about that today in Deep Takes with Silent, one of our amazing traders there in the VIP trading community. But overall, Tim, I agree that it's bullish. We are getting headline after headline of bullish pressure continuing to build in the space that should be bringing Bitcoin higher any day now. And we've heard of them today, two of them, of China cutting rates and the CIO of Bitwise going ahead and saying what he's seeing there on Wall Street, giving us a little insider information that there are a lot of wealthy and powerful financiers in New York that are going ahead and buying Bitcoin, buying crypto. Tim, let's get to this next headline here. This one, not so sweet, a bit sour. September consumer confidence falls, the most in 3 years. That's pretty extreme. Consumer confidence index slid to 98.7, down from 105.6 in August, the biggest one-month decline since August 2021. The Dow Jones consensus forecast was a reading for 104, so it really missed. By contrast, the index had a reading of 132.6 in February of 2020, a month before the pandemic hit. Very, very discouraging numbers there from a consumer sentiment standpoint. Each of the 5 components the organization samples fared worse on the month, with the biggest fall coming among those aged 35 to 53 and earning less than $50,000. So it's not just the young, it's not the very old on a fixed income, it's also kind of that middle income, high earners, even though, I guess it wouldn't be high earners, only those earning $50,000. Consumers' assets of current business conditions turned negative, while views of the current labor market situation softened further. Consumers were also more pessimistic about future labor market conditions and less positive about future business conditions and future income, said Dana Preston, chief economist at the Conference Board. The Conference Board is the organization that issues this data. So, Tim, the question is, how bullish is this? I mean, how bearish is this? I'll answer first. Ultimately, this is going to hit companies like Walmart. It's going to somewhat hit companies like Amazon, although they have a lot of AWS. They have a lot of web services and server services that they can kind of absorb some of the hit to their consumer side. Obviously, what Amazon does, what they do. And companies like, Walgreens and CVS here in the United States, you may be familiar, in grocery stores, right? H-E-B, Publix, Kroger. These are the types of companies that may take a hit from this type of a statistic, right? It's really not going to be Google. It might be Amazon, Apple a little bit, right? Because after all, they do sell consumer goods. But it's not going to be Dell. It's not going to be IBM. It's certainly not going to be Microsoft, right? These are all business-to-business companies. Overall, though, Tim, I think that this is going to be absorbed. We're heading into the holidays where consumer sentiment goes to an all-time high throughout the year, right? As folks run out and start spending money on decorations, on candy for Halloween, and obviously gifts for Christmas. So I think that there will be a recovery here, but this could be a foreshadowing of what could come that leads into the recession. Tim, what are your thoughts here? I mean, these numbers are ugly.
Yeah, so once again, this is going to be something that it's not necessarily as big of a deal as some people are going to make it out to be. Also, I'm not 100% certain what the article is talking about, the lowest in 3 years. If you go to my screen, this is a chart right here that we found of the consumer index, a consumer confidence index. And so this big move that we had, we kind of were up here again, somewhere around 111, 110, and then we dropped down here to 98, right? Just where we were not that many months ago. We've had bigger moves to the downside more recently, but you also can see the recessions normally are coming right after periods of actually high confidence, right? You go back to 07, 08, everyone's really confident. We're up over, pushing towards probably 111, 112 at this point. And then a massive plunge in 08, right? Right before COVID, we were sitting up here super high, probably towards 130, almost 140. Had that plunge in COVID, had a nice correction in 2021, a pump back up here above 120. But then ever since then, we've just been draining along this sideways, boring, mundane. People just don't feel great. I'll say this, it is evidence right here. The average person has not felt great about the economy over the last 4 years, with the exception of a small sprint in 2021. But that's obviously because there was 0% interest rates. People were borrowing money. In fact, some people are being paid to borrow money. But right now, people are very, very upset. The good news about this is, though, again, the real question about this channel is, how does this impact your Bitcoin and crypto holdings? You actually can make a good argument with it being so low for this long, and things are pretty bad. It's more of an evidence, more of a site, almost like a fear and greed index, that because everyone's so negative right now, you only have room to the upside. People can only be impressed. And this could be an opportunity, like you said, as we go into holiday seasons, that some of these businesses are able to pump their numbers, pump the details, make people feel better about themselves. I think that's the other thing that you said was the main people feeling negative about it are lower income households.
Yep.
What I'm about to say is going to sound insensitive, but I really don't want it to be. Yeah, when you don't make a lot of money and everything's becoming more expensive, it's rough on you. That's what's really rough, is that we haven't seen, as the dollar keeps getting inflated and inflated and inflated, we haven't seen serious numbers in wages go up. I'm not talking about the minimum wage. I'm talking about just the average wage for lower income families. It doesn't improve. It's not improving. They're going to be frustrated. And the only thing that's going to make them less frustrated is if we actually make things cheaper or start paying people more.
Yeah,
that could take a while, right? But at the same time, I don't think that make or breaks the economy. I don't think that's going to have an impact on Bitcoin's price action. So even though this is telling us people are bearish right now about the economy, they've been bearish about the economy. And a lot of times when a recession's actually about to hit, it takes us by surprise as people. It's not something that we've been forecasting, and there's a groaning feeling amongst the people that something bad's about to happen. Recessions usually are surprises.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, is that humans are very adaptable. Unfortunately, sometimes they adapt in the direction of credit, right? Running up really big credit card bills, which is no bueno. But they also adapt, and they find ways to save, right? If you're going to the theater 4 times a month, maybe you stop doing that, right? Or maybe if you're going out to ice cream, like I did last night, oh my gosh, have you tried Fruity Loops ice cream? It's so good. I've never had ice cream.
Loops ice cream.
It's like flavored like Fruity Loops. We are not sponsored by Fruity Loops. But anyway, where was I going with that? If you're going out and spending a bunch of money, maybe you'll stop, right? Is kind of the thought here. and maybe you'll save money. And that's what the consumer sentiment is showing, is that folks are having to tighten their belt, and that can ultimately affect risk assets. Crypto, maybe. I mean, folks are going to have less money to maybe take risk in asset markets, right? But more than likely, that savings is going to come at the grocery store, right? And at the on Amazon and things like that. So we'll move on, bros. That's really the bearish news from today, and that's mostly going to affect the equity side. Again, companies like Walmart, brick and mortar, where they rely on you and your aunt and your uncle and your nephew and your parents to go in there and buy cheap plastic goods that costs 3 cents to make, and you buy it for $30.
Good clarification here, T-Shirt, about the most important part of that statement. Fruity Loops. Do you mean Fruit Loops?
We're going to have to move on. I don't want to reveal too much. Too much. Let's keep moving. All right. But let me just say, we're all here and we're having fun. You really ought to go try. And you know what, Tim? I said Fruit Loops. It actually wasn't even Fruity Loops. It was actually the Pebbles one. What is it? Fruity Pebbles. Oh my gosh, it was so good. You don't like that?
No.
Oh, let us know in the chat, bros. Are you a fan of Fruity Loops, Fruity Pebbles? We might have to get a
I'm not really a fan of either one of them. But
what's your favorite? What's your favorite cereal, Tim? We're right at the end zone. Let's go ahead and get the touchdown.
All right, listen. We're gonna throw health out the window. You cannot go wrong with Reese's peanut butter cup cereal, like the cereal, like so, like the peanut butter chocolate balls. That's the best cereal. Now it's not good for you. I never eat it, but if I ever do say, you know what, screw health, let's go all in on cereal, I'm going with the Reese's peanut butter cup cereal.
Gotcha.
That's my pick. Put your favorite cereal flavor. Health. Okay, we're a healthy channel. We're trying to be healthy. Clearly not T-Shirt eating his Fruity Pebbles ice cream, so he's excluded from this list. But I'm going to allow you guys to put your unhealthy favorite cereal in chat. I'm interested to hear what you guys think. T-Shirt, let's continue, though. We got more stuff to the show. We got Q&A coming. We got super chats to read. Speaking of, we got another one from Javi Nobody the Hate Monger.
Wow.
That was his name. Javi Nobody the Hate Monger. Tim is the type to eat total.
That's good.
I don't eat cereal, right? So that's your first. I don't. I'm the type that eats nothing. I'm the type to eat steak, But
Javi, thank you for tuning in and that being what you pay for a super chat to say. We need more of that. A lot of people ask, like, do filecoin TA? Well, we're happy to do it. We really do love doing that. But more people need to chime in with those type of comments. I love that. All right. Well, we're talking about sugary cereal, and there's nothing like sugary cereal like Gary Gensler. How about that for a transition? We've got some clips because this man right here has taken up Washington. He's gone there. He's talking to them. He's getting them all upset. Tim, let's go ahead and take a look, and let's take a listen.
SEC broke the law. Your attorneys lied to the court, and no one in your leadership here in D.C. has been held accountable. That tracks. Seems like business as usual here in Washington. Okay, switching gears very quickly. It's been recently reported that Vice President Harris has finally said she'd craft clear rules of the road for the digital asset space if she becomes president. Is this your approach too, sir, or do you think she's rebuking you because she doesn't think you've done a good enough job establishing these clear rules over the last 3 years of her administration?
I think that there's laws in place. If Congress wishes to change them, they'll change them. But we are enforcing the laws, and there are many people in this field
so you don't
that are
think
not
she's
following
rebuking
the laws.
Reclaiming my time. Well, it's very interesting that you view your performance that way, because we have a litany of court cases, extraordinary confusion in the marketplace, and millions of Americans pining for clarity from you. You've abused the agency's enforcement tools, and you've even baited companies eager to comply with you, only to hit them with enforcement actions. You've retaliated against businesses and people who have come before this committee to talk about the next generation of American finance. And perhaps, somehow, worst of all, you've made up the term crypto asset security. This term is nowhere to be found in statute. You made it up. You never provided any interpretive guidance on how crypto asset security might be defined within the walls of your SEC. Yet, you made the broad proclamation that you believe a majority of tokens are crypto asset securities. You did this. And you would deliberately use this made-up term as the basis for your entire enforcement crusade over the past 3 years, only for your lawyers to retract it in a footnote to a court just last week. Your inconsistencies on this issue, sir, have set this country back. We could not have had a more historically destructive or lawless chairman of the SEC.
Wow, Tom Emmer there, congressman who is not happy with Chairman Gary Gensler there.
Yeah, Tim, imagine if he gets passionate about something. You know?
Man, we've got a comedian here. He doesn't just do TA. He doesn't just grow a beard. He makes jokes. But seriously, Tim, let's get down to the nitty-gritty here, because Tom Emmer, he's not playing around. He's had enough of Gary Gensler's shenanigans. He's really trying to get something done here. Do you think that there's any chance that we see Gary Gensler fired under this administration, ousted by Congress, or not? What do you think?
No. As much as we love these sound bites, as much as anyone who's in crypto who does not like Gary Gensler loves this, this will play no role whatsoever in Gary Gensler's future. Why do I say that? Because if Donald Trump wins, Gary Gensler is out. And if he doesn't win and Kamala wins, more than likely, I know this hasn't been confirmed, but it's the rumor, and it seems like everything is pointing towards this being what's true, she'll probably promote him to Secretary of Treasury. So these are good sound bites, but if we're really being honest, T-Shroom, the only people paying attention to this type of a clip are people that already hate Gary Gensler or people that don't like Tom Emmer. It's going to continue to divide the camp. So I think it's good soundbite to listen to. I think it's good to continue to educate people and to make sure we're understanding. Maybe you've been in a conversation recently and you're like, man, do I remember exactly what went wrong with Gary Gensler? Things like that help you remember it, right? But Kamala's not looking at this clip and saying, I better reconsider hiring Gary Gensler. The truth is the people that she wants to vote for her, the people whose votes are left to capture, are not going to watch that clip and have that play a major role in who they vote for president. So that's why I'm saying, while I love the clip, I love Tom Emmer's passion and his fury, I can't say that it's actually going to do anything to Gary Gensler or affect the election one way or the other.
Yeah. Well, it's disappointing to hear, Tim, but you're probably right. We've got another clip here. My reaction here is that, there could actually be a reason for Kamala not to bring Gary Gensler on as the Secretary of Treasury, and that's simply that he's unpopular and he's not going to get along with the Senate and with the Congress Republicans. And if Kamala Harris wants to get things done, which is a standing question, right? She may think twice about having Gary Gensler on her cabinet. But that's a big question, right? Does she actually want to get things done, or does she just want to be a placeholder to prevent her political opponents from accomplishing things? I wouldn't put it past him. Tim, we got another clip here because Gary Gensler didn't just get it coming. He got it going. Let's take a look, Tim. Let's take a listen.
I'd like to move on to SAB 121. As you know, the SEC overstepped their authority by issuing SAB 121 while also harming investors in the financial system. Chair Gensler, I have contacted your office repeatedly about SAB 121 and asked to speak with you about this. Your office has totally ignored all of our requests, so I'm very glad you are before Congress today to answer my questions. After watching majorities in both chambers of Congress, including Democrats like Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, vote to overturn SAB 121, do you have any regrets on supporting the SAB?
The Office of the Chief Accountant has been issuing staff accounting bulletins. It's 121 because it's the 121st one in 50 years. Public companies were asking questions about how to account for crypto and is it a liability? And what we found is bankruptcy after bankruptcy, and FTX and Terraform and Celsius and Voyager, bankruptcy court after bankruptcy court has said it's a liability of the company. So I think the accounting that the staff bulletin put out helped public companies understand that.
Thank you. The Government Accountability, a nonpartisan independent agency, was very clear. You lost. The SEC was wrong to skirt around Congress by issuing SAB 121. You're actually making the digital asset ecosystem less safe. Yes or no, Chair Gensler, will you commit to rescinding SAB 121 today?
No, it's good accounting bulletin that's out there, and if somebody comes in and works with the Office of Chief Accountant in a consultative matter where it is bankruptcy remote. And a number of banks and broker-dealers have done this, where if they're holding the customer funds, and it truly is the customers, it's truly the remote from bankruptcy.
Reclaiming my time since
that it's not a liability.
There you go. Well, getting into the nitty-gritty, a little inside baseball there for some of the tax, the GAAP standards for crypto. They're basing it off of bankruptcy outcomes. Maybe not the worst thing to base it off of, but probably not the best either for the growth of a burgeoning industry like crypto. Tim, I don't know if you have too many thoughts on this one here, but does this ring any alarm bells for you?
Well, the biggest alarm bell is what was pointed out, that the SEC, this is important stuff. But again, will it matter to anyone? I don't know. But Gary didn't deny the accusation that he circumvented Congress, who really should be responsible for deciding what's allowed and not allowed in this circumstance. The SEC circumvented Congress and just made up the rule on their own.
Right.
And then he pretty much said, all right, are you going to retrace it? And Gary said no. So once again, is that dangerous? Is this terrible? Should you raise your voice and make a stink about it as best you can? Yes. But if you're asking me for my optimism on how effective that stink would be, not very good. Again, I think that Gary is. I know people are going to say he's intelligent. I'm not going to say he's not intelligent. He clearly has intelligence. He went to MIT. He used to teach blockchain at MIT, which makes, I think someone in chat said it makes his position on crypto at the moment so baffling. The only possible answer is he is a puppet being told, do this, do this, do this, do this. The only thing that's confusing at the moment is with him probably being a puppet more of Kamala Harris, and she's trying to win some crypto votes. Why is he still standing in opposition whatsoever? That to me, I'll say I don't really have a thought on because it's confusing. What is stopping him from saying, yeah, never mind, we're not going to go against crypto. Crypto's good, guys, and you should vote Kamala Harris. Like, why is he not doing that? That's what confuses me at the moment.
Yeah. Yep. Well, it's a little
breaking news, though, T-Shroom.
What do we got?
Bitcoin to over 64 again. Let's go. We talked about this earlier. I don't know if this means my trade got triggered because I do have a trade. Right now, though, on the 1 hour chart, if this ends up playing out, we did break above our smart chart here. This is what stop losses are for in case I end up being wrong. We have a take profit right now sitting up 64,700 all the way up to 65,700. Now, it is 351. It's still going to take us a little bit to get up here. You guys know that, or if you've been watching, you'll know what I want to see is a daily candle closed above this purple line. If that happens, I'll mostly be bullish. I technically want to see 2 days get above there. So like what I'd want to see in a dream scenario to say we're bullish right now, right? I'd want to see today's daily candle, which currently is sitting at 64,100. I want to see it get above and close above 65,000. I want to see us spend tomorrow above 65,000 and close a second day. And after that point, that would be a confirmed higher high for the first time since March of this year. That would be extremely bullish. Now, a lot of people are saying, all right, what's going to stop us from getting there? I'll be transparent with you right now because I think it just got triggered. I entered, I don't know if people are with me or not on this one. I entered a short today on Bitcoin. I actually won earlier, but I entered another one that got triggered at $64,000. The reason why is because here on the 12-hour liquidations, you will see we got a lot of bright liquidations from short positions coming in right here at $64,000. This is a target that was very easy for people to chase. The problem is we got a lot of liquidity sitting down below us as well, back down here towards 62. I believe if we go to the 1 day, let's see, some of this might have changed. This morning, we might have seen some brighter colors down below us. Did that just update? Didn't make any change whatsoever. There we go. All right, let's go 3 day here. 3 day, there we go. On the 3 day, we got a lot of bright yellow back down here towards 62K. If you start to move to the upside and you start going out towards multiple weeks, multiple months, you got a lot of bright liquidity coming all the way down here towards $60,000. So while we are pumping at the moment, and I'm not surprised by this pump, it's actually a pump that I called this morning. The question is going to be, do we make a move above 65,000, or was this simply another liquidity grab? Let's go back to the 12-hour chart. Was this simply another liquidity grab to take out these liquidations, and then Bitcoin's price is going to keel over again Watch to see how these things happen. Anyone who's thinking, Tim, why in the heck would you be shorting right now? Well, guess what? I got a massive portfolio of Bitcoin right now that every time the price goes up, that is amazing. But in a scenario where we're not yet setting that higher high, in a scenario where there's still a decent chance of a move to the downside, I'm not going to take any profit and sell my Bitcoin, but I'll hedge my position by entering a short to go against it to pick up some more dry powder. That is a very healthy, proper strategy when it comes to investing that helps prepare you for either direction. I have a very tight stop loss, so we'll see how this one plays out. But at the moment, we're pumping 64.3. We'll see how this one plays out. We'll keep you guys posted in our Discord, but the signs are coming, T-Shroom. We could be. I'd love to see it. I'd love to be wrong. I would love to be wrong about this pullback. We could be seeing a break above 65,000 happen before the end of the day, and that would be pretty awesome in my opinion.
Well, Tim, folks are probably listening and they're saying, well, Tim, that sounds like a strategy, which you just described looking at the liquidation chart. It sounds like a strategy to make a little bit of money. Folks, if you are listening and you're hearing, especially for the first time or second or third or fourth time tuning in, we'd encourage you. Go down here to the links in the description. Check out the Bro Lux memberships. This is how you can gain access to Tim and I's portfolio, our trade setups, and you can go ahead and chat with us. Ask us any question. I'm literally all day. Tim and I were all day down in Discord general chat with the Bro Lux members, just chatting, answering questions. Would this coin be a good investment? Would this coin be a good investment? Right? All of these different questions. Should we take profit here? Should you enter here? All that kind of stuff. You know, how to tell a difference between a good coin and a bad coin. What is a stop loss? What's a MACD? You're learning for the first time. Don't make the same mistakes that a lot of beginners make. Join a community of traders that you can learn from their mistakes instead of having to make it on your own. Tim, we're going to get into our factoid of the day as we wrap up the show. Okay, and today's factoid of the day is brought to you all by Decrypted.tax. They are the tax pros that fuel the investing bros. If you're looking for a tax solution, maybe you're an investor, maybe you're a trader in crypto, you're going to look no further than Decrypted.tax. Link in the description. Tim, how long does a single strand of hair typically live before falling out of your head? Is it?
What are these hair questions?
3 months.
I gotta minimize the chat. I'm not cheating today. Go ahead.
3 months. That's okay. That's all right, Tim. 3 months, 6 months, or is it 2 to 7 years? Or Tim, could it be 8 to 10 years? What is the answer to the factoid of today? Go.
It's not A or B. I know that. First of all, like my mom cut hair when I was younger for a living. Sure. And I remember her telling me it's like you can grow a quarter of an inch a month or something like that. So like obviously people with long hair, if their hair is constantly falling out, it's not going to be months, right? It's going to be years. 2 to 7 feels too short, but I feel like that's the right answer. C, 8 to 10 makes sense as well. But I feel like I'm overthinking this by saying 2 to 7, but it's really what I'm kind of feeling. I'm going to go C, 2 to 7.
He's going 2 to 7, folks. Let us know in the chat. What do you think? Here we go. 2 to 7.
There we go.
Tim.
There we go.
A single hair has a normal life between 2 to 7 years. That hair then falls out and is replaced with a new hair. There you go. What an exciting factoid of the day today. I barely fell out of my seat.
Intriguing.
We're having fun.
All right, well, we got it. We got one right. Tomorrow will be my last factoid of the week this week because I will be leaving town Thursday to go over to Cali, spending some time with Matt C over there. But T-Shroom's going to keep the show going.
That's right.
On the weekend. I don't know if he confirmed or not. Is Crux going to be joining on Thursday and Friday?
I believe so. I believe Crux is going to be
joining.
You're
in chat. Crux, are you going to be joining the show Thursday and Friday? If you are, the people would be very, very happy with you. And then you can get factoids of the day. It'll just transition. Crux will become the replacement Tim, and he will do the factoids of the day so we can get 3 right answers to give someone $50.
I'll have to introduce Crux to the factoid elf. We'll see. We'll see. The factoid elf speaks in a very difficult language to understand. Before we get too much further into the factoid elf lore, we've got a new outro today. So leave us a chat down below. Do you like the new outro? I'm sure you will, because this outro totally slaps. You're gonna love it.
Bruh. Now we're gonna wrap up the show here in a second. People were asking earlier for Ondo, Sheeb, and Injective TA.
Right.
Not going to get to it. But guess what? For all of our trading members, right after the show is over, I'm going to be creating our Zoom link, and we're going to have our members-only Q&A for Tuesday afternoons right after the show. We did get a super chat, though,
That's right.
for filecoin. Right, so we're going to do filecoin, and we're going to make the best of it. Right now, let's go ahead and look at filecoin. Not getting the same momentum the rest of the crypto space has gotten here. This is the daily chart. I'm not looking at like a minute chart or a 5-minute chart. This is the daily chart. Before I say that, what's it up here in the last little bit since the bottom? It's up 22%, but a lot of other coins are making moves back up to some good highs here. The ceiling right now, though, is good for filecoin. We could make a nice move back up to around 430 before we run into our daily smart trail. That is this red cloud right here. Strong level of resistance. If we break above that, things are very, very good. But we are in a long-term, very bearish play out right now. We have a sell signal that says we should be taking profit at $2.16. How ludicrous is that? That would be a brand new low for the year. So I'm not going to necessarily go with that, but it's interesting. That's still where our support is from the green cloud as well. I think a more realistic level would be a double bottom somewhere here on 290. What's our oscillator saying right now? It's not giving us, the daily oscillators are not giving us any type of buying or selling momentum. We did get a buy signal back here on September 8th with the rest of the space, which is part of the reason why I think a move up here to the smart trail back up above $4 is probably very likely. But the question is, do we make a longer term move or not? For that, let's take a look at how the weekly chart is responding at the moment. Man, it's not old enough to have a support band really of significance right there. But as a whole, I mean, we're closer here towards the bottom. I'm not going to be able to answer this one from a fundamental perspective. I know Crux is going to be able to answer a fundamental perspective here, and I believe that tomorrow for our members, he has a fundamental, like what is it? Web3 Wednesdays or something he's calling it in the mornings. Do you know what time that is? Is that a 10:30 slot, T-Shroom?
Stand by. That is a good question. Web3 Wednesdays, 9:30 a.m. on Wednesdays.
Right after the live show, because we have a live show tomorrow morning. So look forward to that. Go ask that question there. On the weekly chart, I mean, I'd move back up here toward the smart trail. Could be back up towards 740 before you have some major resistance. But this is one, we've been under a bearish smart trail, and we've only touched it once since then, all the way since May of 2021, right? So we have been extremely bearish on filecoin. If we get a break above, and there's a lot of room to the upside, if we get a break above there around 790, that could be a major, major move to the upside just to get back to that $230 top that we had. I'm not certain we're going to do it or not. I'm not necessarily a filecoin expert fundamentally, but from a chart perspective, it's a very oversold coin at the moment. There's really not much more room to the downside. It's a lot more room to the upside when you're taking a look at the technicals. With that said, though, that is going to be all we talk about today. We did not get to 400 likes here, T-Shirt. We got to 373. Bruh. So very close. So no $10. No $10. We're going to try again tomorrow, guys. Come back tomorrow. Smash the like. Tell your friends to smash the like. We want to give some money away. With that said, we love you guys. See you tomorrow. Same time, same place. With that said, hey there. If you enjoyed this video, don't just smash the like and hit subscribe, but watch another one as well, like this one right here. And if you want to learn more about trading and investing and get more confident along the way, learning with an amazing community, you might want to click this link right there. So go ahead, click them. I can wait.